Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem. All right, welcome everyone to the Week in Italian Startup. Welcome, Nick.
Ciao Jack, ciao everybody, welcome back.
So let's get straight to the big news from last week. There is a lot of fintech going on, a lot of interesting deals between like payments and buy now, pay later loan. So there is a lot to think about these different kind of deals.
And a bit of cannabis that always
a touch of cannabis. Super nice.
You need to diversify a little bit.
That was surprising. Honestly, that was extremely surprising, but I'm glad. All right, let's start with Faire, fintech startup raising 3 million euro from a syndicate of investors. So maybe let's start talking about what Faire is doing, which I thought it was particularly interesting. This is a great application of UX to a very boring and painful problem. So I like it, honestly. I like the fact of working on painful situation. So essentially Faire is trying to build an AI system so that you can get like a quick and precise credit score, so you can get a loan as quickly as possible. And they're offering this service to banks and institutions and brands in general. So yeah. Any comments on the product? I mean, that's
No, well, as you said, that's one of those interesting bits of actually it is interesting consumerization like play. You're a bank, you're going to provide an instant lending solution, just one click philosophically, and there you are with your branded app where people can just subscribe and get instantly KYC'd and risk analyzed to receive a loan. So
yeah,
absolutely interesting play.
Yeah, historically a process that has been painful forever since the banking industry was born, and kind of very over time it has been always become more and more quantitative with the addition of AI and ML. That definitely speeds up a lot of processing. So that's definitely interesting.
If you want, this is a consumer credit play, and it's a huge market in a sense, and probably part of the growth that you can witness in the last couple of years comes from technology that has actually enabled a lot of consumers to get access to consumer credit in an extremely simple way. So that's demand has been driven by the way simplification of the process to get access to it, to the product. So
awesome.
I find it quite interesting.
Yeah. And it's not a small round, to be honest. It's about 3 million euros. So it's $3 million in the news. Consider still seed, but definitely with a roster of angel investor, which are pretty well known in Italy, I would say. So definitely an interesting way to proceed, I would say.
Yep. So the interesting point, if you want, is actually that's a sizable round with mostly angel investors participating. Probably the only company that I see named there is Fabric, and that's a Banca Sella holding company, technology arm basically. And probably the CII3 advisors, which I don't know who they are. The others are physical people.
Yeah. And that definitely inserts itself in everything that is open banking, and we've been talking about open banking for a while now. I remember when it was like kind of a very new concept, and it was like tough to define. It's becoming way better known, and it's definitely opening up like opportunities. I think we had a discussion about this and how opening up some form of supporting banks on different parts of their day-to-day operation can definitely open markets, and this is proof of that. So yeah, as you were mentioning. Awesome. All right, let's move on to the second biggest deal of last week was QodeUp, payment platform for restaurants, raising 2.5 million euro from the Techshop. So yeah, changing a little bit, kind of focusing a little bit more on the restaurant business and how actually there is this rebirth of the QR code in some form or another. So something that used to be completely ignored at some point and everybody hated it. Now it's coming back, and it has some weight, and people are betting on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. My feeling is that the pandemic has had some influence on it because you remember we had no physical menus, you couldn't touch anything in the restaurant. So the first basic idea was, hey, there are QR codes out there. They've been around for decades. We can use them with the mobile phones.
Yeah.
So it became more common. People got used to them, and just they came back as something mainstream. Something I'm becoming kind of used to it. And when I enter a restaurant, I tend to look around and look for the QR code for the menu. I'm now used to it. I don't know whether you do the same.
And I think it's a good question. Is this one here to stay, or we're just conditioned by circumstances, and then maybe in 5 years we're gonna forget again about the QR thing?
That's the key question for not only for us, but probably for QodeUp.
For sure. Yeah. And I like how they're actually extremely focused on one segment, which is benefiting a lot from the QR, which is the restoration business in general. So they really focus on digital menus and payment system. Specifically here, another interesting play is this, which basically through the QR you can pay, you can split up bills, and you can see what kind of live how your bill is changing, and then there you go. It's a hybrid between the ease of the QR plus the easiness of paying. So that's an interesting way of conceiving it. It's an interesting mix, actually.
Yeah, I was curious about the UX of this way of payment. I mean, in particular the divide by everybody that's participating to the dinner. That's an interesting UX play that can go extremely wrong if you don't pay attention to the way the product works. I've never tried QodeUp, so would be very curious about how they cracked the way that you end up splitting the bill among all the people participating to the meal.
They're trying to trigger what has been triggered in the US by Venmo. Venmo, it was it's still an easy, popular way to split bills and transfer small amount of money between people. We go out, I pay for dinner, and then you Venmo me some money. And that's how it has been working. It's working very well because it's simple, nothing super fancy, nothing, extremely advanced, I would say, but definitely incredibly easy and quick. So that's powerful. And I believe there is something there. I don't know if this is going to be the final solution, but definitely is an interesting and quick way to do. I believe people are using a little bit Satispay to do that in a way. So people exchange a small sum of money when they go out, when you split bills. Satispay is like another incumbent player kind of at the door, which is widespread, and that can maybe generate some problems to this company. But yeah, definitely consumer-wise, I believe it's strong. I believe it's a strong play because we're getting used to that, and definitely it's a tendency which is here to stay, I would say. Yeah, I was also checking the investor, which is Techshop, and there we go.
He is not the only investor; he's the lead investor.
He's the lead investor, right? So we talked about Techshop before. Techshop has a nice history. is an Italian SGR. They've been investing in digital for, I would say, quite amount of years in general. In particular, last year they raised 32 million, also backed by CDP Ventures, and they are like in the phase of essentially deploying capital. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. They probably are the fourth investment in a year or less, so they're moving fast, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and the portfolio also includes some of the pretty well-known like Italian companies. So it's not bad at all. Definitely, they're working really well.
Yep. Yeah. They need to update the website with QodeUp.
Yeah, exactly.
Got them.
Got them. But it's good. It's good news. All right. Let's talk about cannabis then. That's pretty unique. So historically, Italy's been sort of on and off on cannabis. There were like a big boom like a few years back, and when some legalization issues were like solved, people were starting selling like low THC concentrated cannabis for consumption. But here we're talking about medical usage, which is a little bit different than that. Still in Italy, you can see the first plantation with actually like cannabis oriented plants, and yeah, things are moving. Then occasionally you have like a bad press when something goes bad, and then everything is terrible. So there you go, like the press doesn't really help. But the medical application is something that has been happening across different countries for years now. Well, of course, US has been like leading on this, but not only. There are big funds actually investing in medical cannabis. One interesting fact is that there are companies that they've gone through IPOs like pre-COVID, and they were completely focused either on consumer cannabis or in medical cannabis. So we've seen like some interesting plays work out in some public markets, especially in Canada. I believe a few companies. The Canadian market has been like really active on that. And there you go, Materia Medica raising 2.2 million, actually not small at all, to actually develop the frontier of medical cannabis. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I believe that from what I understand from the website and from the article, the company is basically producing the process to extract the CBD and use it to offer a final product, I believe. This is my understanding. Please correct me.
Yeah.
But to offer the pure ingredient to the pharma companies in the medical world.
You're completely right. No, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay. And secondly, you got two investors here. One is Kairos Ventures, is G1.
Yeah.
That's another newborn fund. It was launched earlier this year. And the second investor is an American investor, Merida Capital Holdings, specialized in cannabis.
Yeah, absolutely. So nice to have like some US backing up, because that definitely can open like a lot to the market. Even if Italy is still maybe stuck, they can have definitely some investor like look into this kind of deals. So I thought it was very smart from them, especially since the beginning. So with such an early series, then involving US investor, that's only going to play to their favor. So I think it was definitely like a nice play. So
I don't know, Jack, whether you did your due diligence on the American investor. Took a look at them.
Not really, but let's take a look.
I was taking a look at their Crunchbase profile. They raised 4 different funds in less than 6 years.
Wow.
The first one in 2016, then 2018, then 2019, and then 2021. From $15 million, the first one, small one, then 55, then 118, and then again 50 million. Not too bad.
No, it's
240 million under management.
There you go. And what is interesting is that, very diversified in a way. This is the right website, right? I believe.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So we have the Merida portfolio and then infrastructure. So it's kind of on one side we have like the Merida with cannabis and pharma in general, but specifically like cannabis oriented companies, and on the other side is infrastructure. That's an interesting combination. No, definitely some recognizable name in the US, like Leafly. I mean, I'm not an expert, but sometimes you go through this one, so that's interesting. Very cool, very cool.
Your interest is just academic.
Exactly, it's purely for science. Awesome. All right, Nick, let's what I want to talk about also is our friend from Blacksheep, which they've been active. We've been talking about Blacksheep. Blacksheep is one of the most famous like med tech fund. So it's a marketing and advertising technology fund. So it's an interesting fund because it's built by executives in the ad industry together with an SGR, I believe. And now basically they are investing in the future of marketing ads and what's going to happen in the ad technology space. And basically what they've been doing, they've been investing last week about 2 million euro in Roibox, is a Latvia-based geospatial advertising platform. I thought it was super interesting.
Yeah, indeed. As you said, they are experts and specialists in the market sector. They've been investing outside of Italy already. I have to say that they're making interesting investments as well, because there are some specific areas that I am discovering thanks to them.
I agree.
So I have to say, very, very interesting. This one about geospatial data science related to marketing.
Yeah.
At first intuition, that's almost, of course, that's important. But I mean, seeing it in the product is another thing. A very interesting play.
Yeah.
And yeah, please.
And no, I'm ignorant, so I agree with you. Like they give us like a very interesting insight. And honestly, geospatial advertising, I thought it was kind of exhausted by what Meta has been doing. So I thought, okay, it's done. They do it already. But no, these guys are actually digging deeper, basically optimizing all the data for marketing funnels and ad delivery. So there are some level there, even though it seemed like kind of sorted. Well, it's not. You can go deeper than that. So I thought it was very cool.
So it seems. And as you said, Blacksheep is actually hosted by Eureka Ventures SGR. That's an Italian investor with that was launched with a technology transfer fund.
Yeah,
we met them already a few years.
Oh yeah, totally. Right, let's talk about the future of news and information. What's gonna happen like post television and other official channels. So now we're talking about, well, there are different definitions, but you call it social news startup. That's awesome. I thought it was really cool. So essentially, yeah, we're talking about, here is an interesting beast, I would say, because basically these guys are producing content which is really appealing for the new generation, sort of Gen Z digestible content, and they're like trying to make it as professional as possible and involving as many professional creators as possible, and make it like very serious and very precise. That's cool. And the other element is that they're using existing platforms. So they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. This is a creator economy sort of play, I would say. And there you go. They managed to raise capital for that. I mean, everything is undisclosed. So the amount and who has invested. But still, I mean, if that's the case, kudos to them. I mean, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree with you. So what made me laugh is was actually a news company that didn't disclose anything about the round. Just we raised capital.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. But whatever. And as you said, you're right. They're not the first, not the unique player in this market. We invested in one of their competitors, for example, and we find that's an extremely interesting market because we are currently we are looking at new ways of consumption of content in the broadest sense, and using these platforms to spread news content information is becoming something that everybody wants to do, and several startups are going after this opportunity.
Yeah.
That's absolutely interesting.
Yeah, I wonder what would be the big monetization play. Like, is it like paid ads? Is it like brand, like sponsored content? Are there experts willing to share messages? I mean, where is this going? Where is this going, really?
That's a great question, because I think all the players are currently trying to understand how the business model works. For sure, not exactly brand and content, but relationship with brands and working with brands as you provide content and news is one possible monetization channel, because a lot of brands want to be there and either to say that they are supporting a specific type of content communication, or they're interested in the specific content per se, and they want to put their brands on it. Classical eyeball monetization is the easy approach for sure, but there is not something easy to pull off, because
I agree.
The public consuming this type of content, the younger generations below 35, I believe that's the number that is floating around. So they consume and they digest advertising and content in a different way. So I can't say this problem has been fully solved, at least from what I know, but there are ways, and there is a huge movement underneath that's addressing how to monetize that type of content.
Totally. And I mean, there is always new ways to do so. I mean, from product to ad to subscription to restricted content to anything really. Everybody's like trying. I think there are now. I mean, it looks like they're in a phase where they really want to grow first and get their base down, and then they're gonna figure out how to monetize properly. So it's that phase. Let's pump it up and just to get as many people as possible on board. Let's make great content, and then we'll take it from there. I think that's
one way to see it. Absolutely. Actually, on a separate but tangential note, I discovered today, because I don't use the traditional newspaper websites so often. I discovered that they are starting to offer a pay to remove cookies type of business model. Like, you either accept all the cookies or you pay in order not to accept the cookies, which strikes me as weird.
Yeah.
From a legal point of view, but I'm talking about major newspaper, which I will not name here, but it's easy to find out.
No, the thing is, major. I mean, I'm always shocked. The major newspaper in Italy, they've been like milking the ad, real estate, way too much. I mean, you cannot read comfortably an article online, and you kind of pay to remove the ads sometime. Like YouTube is doing that already, like ad-free sort of accounts and stuff like that. So we're tipping to the other extreme. Like before it was like, okay, like elegant ads. Now it's too invasive, and then there you go. The benefit is to remove those ads. So that's interesting, super interesting. The cookie, I'd never heard about it. So wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, but the thing is that I didn't notice the few things that I went there, because I'm using block everything from whatever. So I didn't notice, but it seems to be a thing right now. I don't know. So sorry for the parentheses, but
no, perfect,
anyways.
perfect on point. All right, let's end up with the latest, the last fintech deal, kind of more of a corporate play, where essentially Mediobanca, through Compass, which is offering essentially financing products to people, acquired 100% of Soisy, which is also it's an Italian fintech to essentially helping people purchase goods from e-commerce platforms. So I thought it was very interesting. That's another signal that big banks are actually trying to enter the startup space in the most cutting edge way. And yeah, acquisition is one way. The buy now pay later trend is huge. It has created unicorns in Europe and in Italy, and it's keep going. What I thought it was interesting about actually Soisy itself is that it's a buy now pay later kind of deal, but at the same time there is a micro lending element which I didn't know. So I was checking. That's super cool. So essentially, Nick, correct me if I'm mistaken. Investors starting from 10 euros can put money into the platform and receive a return because they're actually micro lending the money for this kind of like credit plays and the purchasing from other purchasers. So there are the two sides of the medal. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, indeed it is. So I know the model because I've been talking to the founders. So that's a well-known startup. And you're right. Actually, they have this specific element to their business model that's quite different from the traditional operators in the buy now pay later world, the Klarna, Scalapay, etc. Which all of them raise huge amount of money because they need to cover the money, the credit they acquired basically from the e-commerce websites, and then they have to collect the payments and sustain this credit. So they either go for a direct equity, or they mix some equity and some debt element to their fundraise. On the good side, you can go quite fast because debt is infinite. As far as it works, you can get access to debt and you can offer and deploy capital to as many people that will ask for your credit. On the other side, that's expensive. So you're loading your company with debt and equity is expensive, so on and so forth. Soisy just decided not to use direct equity. That's expensive. Equity is expensive, or standard debt. They just opened up the marketplace. So if you want some return, superior return, you can lend money to some specific people, and so you don't select the people, you lend to the marketplace, and then on the other side, Soisy will just provide credit. That's interesting, extremely interesting as an approach.
I agree. All right, Nick, I think that's it for the week. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in the next session.
Thank you, Jack. See you, everybody. Have a great week.